So I'm going to invite to the stage Mr. Gordy Muller, who's going to be doing the second presentation for the day. My good sir, the stage is yours.
Thank you. I don't often get my name mentioned in the same sentence as momentum, but we'll give it a go. I'm tight. I'm not sure what you're seeing. You're seeing a red lady with a seal on it, yeah? Okay, cool, right. So some thoughts from a small media business in Edinburgh. I'm a one-man business. I've been in business for 25 years. Backbone of branding was the title I was given to talk on. But for me, this media thing of mine, and I've been in the industry for almost 50 years, is a journey. It's not about the destination, it's a journey. Storytelling is not about the destination, it's about the journey. And you'll notice that I've reinvented myself, I've rebranded myself. I love the fact that there's a seal in Cape Town that went on a journey, and they named him after me. And somebody said, well, what was the point of Gordy going on a journey? He just ended up back in the sea. I said, it's not about the destination. You've got a seal in Cape Town who went on a journey. I'm going to take you through a very brief journey today through the media multiplier effect from the World Advertising Research Council. This, for me, is the most important media document I've read in the last 20 years. So, something should happen now.
Mind the gap. Mind the gap.
Where am I? In London Underground. 3 words. I'm not going to talk about audio branding. It's been done. I'm in the London Underground. It's not just know where I am, but all those associations that you've had from being there are unlocked by 3 words. Okay, so sonic branding is critical. The first opportunity here is capturing your attention. The second one is, you're not aware of it, listening. Listening is a considered behavior. I could see your body posture leaning in as the second one came. And the third one? There was no third one, okay? That's underflighting. I don't care what your story is, but if you're underflighted, you ain't going anywhere. It's the single biggest problem that we have with lack of return on investment on media. So this is the story, for me. I'm told that in future, all airplanes will be piloted by AI, but you will still require a pilot in the cockpit and a dog. Okay, you know the story. The dog is there to bite the pilot if he touches anything, and the pilot is there to feed the dog. Okay, this is what I'm told is where my career is going to end. It's going to be that zero in the middle. Once upon a time, there was traditional media. Then there'll be nothing. It'll all be digital, and my job will be to feed the dog. I don't buy into that, and I'm here to try and explain why I don't buy into it. Because it hasn't happened that way anywhere in the world. What we're seeing now is something which is called the emergence of the messy middle. I used to call it the fusion zone, right? Traditional media in South Africa, wait for the IAB report coming out very, very shortly in the next couple of months, will tell you 60% of money, advertising, media money, is still spent in traditional media, 40% on digital, 50-50 around the world. Nowhere in the world has this become a 0-0. And you'll get this presentation, I guess, you'll see there. So lots of people are going to be spending money on TikTok going forward. Where's it coming from? Look at the bottom there. It's coming from Twitter. It's coming from Facebook. Their revenues are collapsing. It's not just coming anymore from traditional media. It's feeding upon itself. So here's the interesting thing, and at this point I'm going to do something a little different because you've heard a lot of these discussions before. I'm going to give you a couple of words. I'm going to recall these words a bit later. I don't want you to write them down now, okay? I'm going to give you the words, and here they are. I need you to listen. Night, yawn, snooze, moon, bed, pillow, doze, sheet, and dream. Okay, I'm going to revisit these in a moment. So Google tells us in 2022, they coined the phrase messy middle. Something happened in the report. They reported back on search activity going back to 2009. In 2009 in the UK, search went from what is the cheapest to what is the best. The difference between cheapest and the best is brand differentiation. It's your storytelling. It's your margin. Otherwise, you're going to compete with Temu. That's it. Whatever your brand is, if you're in the Temu space, don't bother to communicate the value and the differentiation. It's portrayed in a model like this, the advertising doom loop. What does it refer to? It refers to the fact that around the world, search activity and response to digital spend is declining. Advertisers' response has been to throw more money at digital because the digital rates are declining. What we've now discovered and what you'll see in this document, multiplier effect, is that you need to put money at the top of the funnel. You have to build a brand awareness at the top, and then it will filter down. You cannot keep extracting from the bottom of the funnel. It's a fundamental principle. If you did science and matric, energy is required to create energy. You cannot just keep extracting. There must be a point where you top up the energy. And you'll see on the right-hand side of the diagram is a point in the middle there, they call it nudging, where your brand activity, your brand storytelling interfaces with your performance, and that's the messy middle, okay? Look familiar? I actually saw somebody mouthing these. When do you think this full funnel concept was created? It's a relatively new parlance. Most people think it's would say in the last couple of years. The phrase was coined by William Townsend in 1924. Okay, we have rediscovered attention, interest, desire, and awareness, guys. That's why I like Gordy. That's why he's my spirit animal. He's gone back to the sea, but that's fine. He's gone back to what he knows. I love what's going on in the world. It's all coming back to me. I understand all this stuff. Don't get confused with the fact that science and big data is proving the things we knew. They're not discovering new things. They're just putting quantum and science behind it. Here's the bottom line. We know that human attention is dwindling. If you go to the Microsoft report 2015, okay, they'll tell you that the human attention span is 8 seconds, which is 1 second less than a goldfish. That's quite cool. But if you read the report, what it also said is, what used to take me 8 seconds, now it takes me, what used to take me 12, now it takes me 8. I've got better at extracting information. And I'll tell you where the Microsoft report has gone wrong. It's gone wrong with grandchildren. I've got 9 grandchildren, okay? And they're a perfect control group. And I tell you what, I know to be a good grandpa, you must tell a story, okay? What you can't do is say, and yes, then the lions walked into Casey's tent. The lions walked into Casey's tent. They want a lot. And otherwise, what comes into play if it's boring on YouTube? The finger. The big finger, and you've got 3 seconds to tell your story, not 8. What we're discovering on television is that this 45-degree angle for 30 seconds is not a reality, okay? What is the reality is I go in, I got 2 seconds, I drop out, I go back in. 80% of people who watch television in South Africa are multi-screening. That sounds like a trash TV kind of story. It's not. The people who multi-screen have a higher level of noting, higher level of recall, and higher level of response to TV ads. Why? Because they've got the device in the hand that you're required to respond. It's not what's going on the screen that pulls you back in. Isn't it interesting that I chose this example? It's what you hear is pulling you back. Multi-screeners are waiting for audio cues to pull them on the screen. The benefits of this 90% uplift. I think there's like 50,000 brands in this case study. 90% uplift if you engage in multimedia practice. 40% downgrade in your brand activity if you do not engage in multi-platform activity. You cannot just keep feeding the bottom of the funnel. You've got to play into the messy middle. So I'm going to just pick up on a couple of these things here. 5 key points coming out of the multiplier effect in action model. Reimagine efficiency. When my grandson is hitting the screen with his finger, it's a click. But he's saying, Grandpa, I'm bored. I want something else. And you're recording that as a win. That's a purchase. Okay, reimagine efficiency. Rethink the funnel. In the past, I would have come to you and I would say, Kaya FM, light, medium, and heavy listeners. It's a vertical thing. Look how many heavy listeners we've got, okay? But actually, there's a new way of looking at the same data, exactly the same data. The listeners of Kaya FM, over and above the fact that they listen to Kaya, they have 7.1 other points of media contact. They have a media repertoire score of 7.1, all right? If you want to talk to the listener of Kaya 959, You've got to talk to the listener of Kaya 959 on the station, on the social media platform, on YouTube, on all of it. You do not run a 30-second ad for a result. Here is, in fact, let me just quickly do the exercise now before we lose too much time. Write down those words I gave you. Don't worry about the order in which they came. Just as they pop in your head, just write them down. You won't get all of them, so don't torture yourself. Just as they pop in your head, write them down. Okay, I see some of you are still diligently. You can see those who are, the school diligent ones. And, don't listen to Gregor. You think he was a well-behaved guy when I was lecturing him. He was a shocker. Between him and Fresh, that was bad news. I actually told Fresh, if you don't spend more time concentrating on me instead of looking at girls, you're going nowhere. Okay, so that one I got wrong. Okay, right. Who got the word? Show of hands. Who got the word night? Who got the word yawn? Who got the word dream? Okay, how many of you got the word sleep? Keep your hands up. About 2/3 of you got the word sleep. See, the interesting thing about this is I never gave you the word sleep. Okay? Your memory is not a linear process. You want to count the number of amplifications. You want to count your viralization, whatever word you want to do. But at the end of the day, who's telling your story? Me. I can't remember your story. Okay? This is the fundamental truth of communication. The closer you are to the source of the communication, the more accurate it is. I know what's going on inside my head. After 55 years with the same woman, there's one person on this planet that kind of understands me, all right? But not all the time, not as much as I get. Then there's group information. Some of you are getting what I'm trying to say, others of you are not. And then the final thing is mass communication. The further away from the source that you are, the bigger the challenge you have in communicating accurately. But, okay, so that was that exercise. I've jumbled the whole thing up for timing. Something really happened, which I think demonstrates what I'm talking about, the messy middle. I was a judge at Cannes in 2000. One of the campaigns we judged was radio. 2014, it becomes radio and audio. 2024, last year, it becomes audio and radio. You want to win Lions awards at Cannes, it's audio and radio, and this was the Gold Lion winner last year. Great campaign. Nothing speaks messy middle better than this.
People avoid getting a hearing test for up to 10 years because it makes them feel old. But while hearing loss is isolating and scary, mishearing can actually be a lot of fun.
Now I thought I'd share some of my favorite misheard lyrics.
Philippe's not your dad. I'm friends with the monster.
Specsavers aim to create a hearing test people wanted to listen to. That's where this guy came in. Rick's biggest hit is one the world has been mishearing for years. So we scanned the internet for the song's most misheard lyrics, rewrote the song, and got Rick to re-record it. Creating the misheard version. Then released it to the nation's ears without explanation as the world's first mass hearing test, causing chaos across socials.
Did I just hear Rick sing My Aunt's Been Naked?
I've been singing the wrong lyrics the whole time.
Wouldn't catch nits. Rick, what is happening?
Did I just get Rick rolled by Rick Astley?
Igniting a national conversation on hearing loss.
Rick Astley.
Rick Astley.
Rick Astley.
This is a really clever idea because people with hearing loss mishear.
I'm absolutely loving the resurgence of Rick Astley.
He's hoping the revamped song will encourage more people to get their ears checked.
The misheard version was played over 20 million times in the first 8 hours, driving a 138% increase in hearing loss searches, making hearing the country's #1 trending topic, leading Specsavers hearing test bookings to increase a record 1,220%.
You've got to tell the story, but it's got to be a good story. These are key points we discussed. It's contextual reach. You're going to read a lot of stuff about reach. It's got to be contextual. I've been in this industry so long, but I tell you what, I've learned more about why people listen to a radio station by talking to Uber drivers than I've learned listening to or reading 50 years of research. Research will tell me how many people Doesn't matter how many people you get listening to your story, how many of them are understanding your story, how many of them are seeing the relevance of the story to themselves, how many of them are telling your story. Here's the bottom line. I threw this in because of the emphasis on trust. I think the gentleman here with the hat on talked about trust. Follow the Edelman Trust barometers. There's been a collapse and erosion of trust in media, almost total collapse. We've got to 2025. Do you know what the number one theme is in 2025? It's called hostile activism. 40%, 4 out of every 10 people that they research on the planet believe that it is acceptable for me to create disinformation about your brand. It's acceptable for me to attack you, to attack your property, including physical damage. Young people around the world average, 53% of young people say hostile activism is a reasonable response to the distrust in your social media campaigns. And I promise you, if it's 53 as an average around the world, it's higher here. Guys, who's telling your story? That's the important thing I want. I mean, okay, I'm not going to do this, but I'm going to just show you. Last 3 slides, I see the red card waving there. Guys, we think AI is going to take care of this. This latent bias that Greg talked about, the racism that's still embedded, but AI is going to deal with this in a really sensible kind of dispassionate way. So you've got to read this book, Yuval Harari Nexus, okay? It's just an incredible book on where we are. What is truth? Okay, and he says information is not the raw material of truth. Okay, more information doesn't give you more truth. And I was chatting with ChatGPT about the book, Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. You've seen the movie. William Kamkwamba, a young man from Malawi, all right, built a windmill in his village out of bits of string and whatever he could find. Right, so I say to ChatGPT, right, the last slide, I don't want a windmill. Take the story of William Kamkwamba and build a metaverse, a portal to the metaverse, okay? You know, ChatGPT, very polite. Are you happy with the image? I said, yes, I'm happy with the image, but you can see there's a little problem with the image. All right, we're in Africa here. Just fix that to be good to go. This is AI's version of the truth. Take away his shoes, take away his smart clothes, take away his mobile phone. If you think AI is going to fix the problems in the messy middle, you're wrong. It requires a human touch. It requires a journey. It requires a partnership. Guys, it's a very shortened version of a very short presentation. We're going to leave it there in the interest of time. So I'm not going anywhere. I'll take as many questions as you want out back. Thank you.